Sweeping story, player choice, and throwbacks to where it all began. Stay tuned to find out why Shadowbringers is so good. It's been 6 years since Final Fantasy XIV relaunched itself. Since then, it's impressed with elegant MMO mechanics and a story that rivals games from the main Final Fantasy series. But can Shadowbringers top the heights of 2015's much-loved Heavensward expansion? Well, yes. Yes, it absolutely can. Here are 7 reasons why Shadowbringers might be Final Fantasy XIV's most essential expansion yet. Yes, every MMO expansion will bring new areas to pre-existing game worlds, but Shadowbringers has done it with a twist. This part of the story is set on the First, which is basically an alternate dimension of the source, the world you've been adventuring on so far. As a consequence, there are shared elements. You'll find coves and landmarks that feel familiar, yet completely different. Everything has been twisted, so there are Easter eggs to uncover and loads for lore fiends to dig into. The new areas also feel unlike anything that has come before, thanks to the oppressive eternal light that prevents you from ever seeing the night sky. This isn't the nice kind of light either. The sky feels thick and angry, and an unsettling drone sound permeates the air. It's an intense relief when you finally restore the night to each area. Even the cheery-looking land of the fairies, Ilmeg, is pretty sinister. Those cute leafy fellows, they're all trapped souls of people who came here before you, frozen in botanical form for all eternity. Lovely. Recognise this guy? That's because you've seen him before in a very unexpected place. He was right there at the beginning of it all, in the first failed version of Final Fantasy XIV that was so full of promise. He's not the only returning element either. This crystal ceiling tavern that wowed gamers in 2012 but never actually appeared in the game has finally been added, and even the hero is here in a much more weary form to guide you through your new adventure. The whole thing is a callback to all those missed opportunities. Shadowbringers is here to say, look, we finally delivered. There's a real catharsis to bringing back hope and life to a failed world, both in a literal sense for the player throughout the story and for the development team putting that chapter of history behind them. The new major city, the Crystarium, is the embodiment of that. It's grand, beautiful, and full of optimism. You couldn't ask for a finer starting point. One thing Final Fantasy XIV is well recognised for compared to other MMOs is how well it handles story, and Shadowbringers is its best chapter yet. It's written by Natsuko Ishikawa, who has been a fan favourite for her work in previous expansions, including beloved questlines such as the one for Dark Knight. And she's excelled herself with the expansion. We don't want to spoil it for you, but anyone who loves the grand stories of Final Fantasy will find plenty to love in Shadowbringers. There's also an increase in player choice that gives you a surprising amount of agency for an MMO, be that simple dialogue choices or choosing which section of the story you want to visit first. Your Warrior of Light may still be silent, but they've never had more personality. Shadowbringers also adds 2 new jobs to try out: the ranged DPS dancer, who effortlessly dance around the battlefield, and the tanking gunbreaker, who wields gunblades, that classic FF weapon famously used by Squall in Final Fantasy VIII. No MMO expansion will be complete without new classes, and the Final Fantasy XIV team have outdone themselves. Dancer in particular is a real highlight, using a rotation that feels very reactive, like an actual dance across your keyboard or controller that reflects in your character's actions. Moves flow into each other naturally, so you can always feel like you're on the move without worrying about your next steps. You can even choose a dance partner in your party to share in your skill buffs, leaving the rest of your squad to quietly question themselves about why you didn't pick them. It's like the end of dance school all over again. I'm only joking, I didn't go to dance school. But it's not just the new jobs that have received love. Every single class in the game has received an update, even the crafters. And it's not just a case of adding new skills for the higher level cap either. Every job has been closely examined and streamlined to avoid button bloat and make them more approachable. Some are small touches that make for a world of difference. Monk, for example, has a new skill to make its AoE rotation easier, while others have had more sweeping changes. Pet classes Scholar and Summoner have had their pet hotbars removed entirely, making them easier to play. Everything is now shared with your character for easier access. It's suddenly become a lot more approachable for new players who are just joining for Shadowbringers, making this expansion an excellent time to join in.
but I would have it no other way. Seldom have I enjoyed such sport.
For all of the gamers out there who usually prefer to play solo or really like immersing themselves in lore, the next edition is for you. Shadowbringers marks the arrival of the Trust system, a mechanic that lets you play through dungeons with NPCs rather than other people. For every new dungeon, you'll be able to enlist the characters currently travelling with you to fight by your side. Each one has their own class, and you'll still need to abide by a tank, healer and 2 DPS party composition. The AI might not deal as much damage as a party made of fellow humans, so things are a little slower going, but they smartly play to their personalities. The bold young Alice, for example, will rush forwards and use a limit break skill when it's available.
Let's give them a show!
While more reserved party members will hang back and let you do it. They also provide a different commentary on their surroundings depending on who you pick, making it worthwhile just to see your companion's takes on your situation. And finally, as glamour is the true endgame, Final Fantasy XIV fans will be pleased to know that the first is even more fashion-forward than your homeworld, introducing some of the fanciest looks of the game so far. There's even a little extra dresser space to store it all in, and if you really fancy a full makeover, you can switch to one of the new races, Viera or Hrothgar, to help satisfy that haute couture itch. So there you have it, 7 reasons why Shadowbringers is the best Final Fantasy XIV expansion yet. Hit that like button if you enjoyed this video and let us know what you think of Shadowbringers in the comments below. And please remember to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you know when our next video lands.